History Channel rolls out its new show, May 31st, Unidentified. The show follows Lou Elizondo, former head of the ATIP program, the Pentagon program that was studying unidentified aerial phenomenon. Let's take a look at the trailer.
I put my entire career on the line because I believe in what I believe in.
He ran the Pentagon's top secret UFO program.
They tracked 100 of these things.
Leading a team of government insiders.
People from the CIA, the Department of Defense, all wanted to be a part of this.
Who for the first time have come out of the shadows to reveal what they know.
I don't really care if it's a threat, it's a threat.
Unidentified, inside America's UFO investigation. Friday, May 31st at 10.
The History Channel shared the first episode with us here at MUFON TV, and I have to tell you, it's really good. I sat down with Jan Harzan to talk about MUFON's relationship with Lou Elizondo, To the Stars Academy, and the History Channel. MUFON has a little bit of involvement in this, both behind the scenes and as part of the deeper story. Jan, thanks for being here with us, and let's talk about Unidentified.
Some of the show that you're going to see this coming Friday is filmed at the 2018 MUFON Symposium in Philadelphia, where Lou was our keynote speaker. And during that time, Lou shared with us that, in fact, what we've been working on for the past 50 years as an organization was absolutely fact, and it was true.
That's so interesting, and we've released that clip, and I don't think that it's garnered the kind of reaction that it really should. We're going to roll that clip one more time, and then we're going to talk about what it really means.
Great, let's do it.
I had the protection of an entire apparatus, a national security organization, at my disposal. And I was able to operate in a way where I had a significant budget for most of the time. I had a staff, I had resources, I had things that I could use that were at my disposal to get a better understanding of this, and I could also operate in a good degree of anonymity, which means I didn't have to worry about a lot of the things that you all did. And so here's Jan and Chase and everybody else in this room doing their job day in and day out and committed to something where sometimes people may have associated you as being fringe or being out there, and all along, you were right.
So here we've got arguably the highest ranking government official ever to acknowledge any kind of official interest in the ET phenomenon, saying that MUFON, the organization that's been studying this for 50 years, was right all along. What do you think he meant by that exactly?
Well, I mean, the fact that UFOs are real, I think that's what he's really talking about. You know, these are advanced craft operating pretty much unencumbered in our skies that are not from planet Earth. So the question becomes, where are they from? But their whole focus within the ATIP group was not on where they were from, but was on what are they and how do they work? Because obviously from a military standpoint, they want to harness that technology and put it to use, because any one of our adversaries who has that technology before we do becomes a serious threat to the United States. So they've been looking at it. That's why it was called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, because they wanted to really understand what these craft were and how they worked.
Now there's a lot of stuff that went on behind the scenes, and there's a lot more to the story than is going to come out on the History Channel's Unidentified. Right. There's things that really can't be brought up right now. There's a deeper level to the whole story and the origination of the whole program. And from what I understand, Lou told MUFON that part of Harry Reid's interest was piqued by studying the work of MUFON. So MUFON actually played a role in the development of this program.
Well, actually, I think so, and I hope I'm not talking out of school here, but my understanding is that as they looked around to find a database of sightings, there was nothing that they could find within the government. Now, that might be laughable to some people, but you know, our elected officials and the people who are running our government aren't necessarily the ones keyed into the whole UFO phenomenon. So they were looking around for something they could use to show senior leadership in our Congress, Senate specifically, that these things were in fact real. And they used the MUFON database, which is publicly available to anybody who wants to look in it and see the types of things that are being reported. So it really was the MUFON data and the MUFON database that created ATIP that is now allowing us to have this disclosure, which I think is so phenomenal. I mean, it really says that all the hard work that all of the investigators in MUFON over the last 50 years have been doing was not for naught, that it has produced good fruits for all of us.
So we've both had the opportunity to meet and hang out with Lou and really get to know him on a personal basis. We also know the folks over at To the Stars Academy and Tom DeLong, and we are all in support of what they're doing. A lot of people do not understand who Lou is and what a difficult line he has to walk to be able to get out and make his story known and still honor his commitments and his oaths, which are all very important to him. Let's talk a little bit about Lou Elizondo, the man, and the organization, and what he's doing exactly and why he's doing it the way he is.
You know, Lou said something at the symposium that really struck home with me. And he made the comment during his 30-minute talk to the audience that it's not the purpose of government to satisfy the idle curiosity of its citizens. It's the purpose of government to protect its citizens. And if you really think about those words, what he's saying is, look, the government's not going to come and tell you about this thing or that thing or the other thing, because they're not a public information service. They're really there to make sure that we have the infrastructure we need, that we have the defense we need, that we have the things that we need to survive as a species, and not go on. So people want the government to come clean and talk about UFOs, but that's really not the government's purpose, is to talk about that. That's really research groups like MUFON and others who should be delving into this and sharing what they know. And if you look at the way other things work in medicine and other fields, physics and stuff like that, it's really how it all works. It's the citizenship and it's the researchers who do the studying and provide the information to the public that allows us to move forward. So now, talking about Lou, Lou, in my mind, is an American hero. I mean, the man fought for us in Afghanistan. He was in special forces. He almost lost his life. Yet, for the grace of God, he'd be dead right now. That's a fascinating story in and of itself. We won't go there. But he then dedicated himself to 10 years as the program manager for ATIP. And he really didn't even know what a UFO was at the time. In fact, he told me he purposely didn't read books on it because he didn't want to contaminate his view of the subject. He wanted to get it right from the military pilots' mouths of what they were seeing, what they were observing, whether it was the Navy, the Air Force, or the Army, as these soldiers for America were engaging these objects, what exactly they were seeing. And that's what data he captured. And as part of doing that, he came to realize this is not anything made here on Earth. This is something far bigger. And he tried to take it up the chain of command, and he kept getting stopped, and he kept getting stopped, and he kept getting stopped. And it frustrated him. And he said, you know, this is so important. I am willing to step out of government and go make this public on my own. So he became a quote-unquote whistleblower, although a whistleblower, you're a whistleblower if you share classified information that should not be shared, and he never did that. He basically just shared what was highly sensitive, but not what was classified, but to the extent that people could actually see that it was a real phenomenon and it was really there. And then he was fortunate enough to link up with Tom DeLong and the To the Stars folks, and the rest is history. So I just think the world of Lou. I think he's a straight shooter. Does he have a security clearance? Yes. Is there things he can't tell us because he's under oath not to? Yes. But as regards to UFOs and what he did on ATIP and what he's doing today with To the Stars, he has been straightforward with us. He has answered every question I've ever asked him, and he's been forthright. And when he can't, he'll say, Jan, I can't answer that. And it's not because I'm trying to hide something from you. It's because I'm under a security oath, and I don't look good in orange, and I respect that.
You know, that's a really good point. And Lou is doing a very good thing by bringing this out, and he's masterfully walking that line, and it's got to be difficult. A lot of people will say, well, this is just more television, it's more this, it's more that, and it's still not the disclosure that we want or we deserve. But the fact of the matter is that there's a broader public that has to be brought along into this, and if you're going to be doing things through the mainstream media, there's got to be a certain amount of restraint, and there's got to be a certain amount of limited rollout. This is probably the most significant show that's ever come out that gets us closer to proving the existence of the unidentified aerial phenomena.
Absolutely.
So, you know, what more do you want right now?
Well, that's what you have to ask. What more do you want? I mean, these are former government employees, former CIA, former Pentagon, former Department of Defense, former aerospace, former top scientists, you know, in research centers around the world, coming out and telling us UFOs are real. They're not ours. They belong to somebody else. They're exhibiting advanced technology. They're in our skies. And Congress and the American people need to take this seriously, and they need to begin to study it for the betterment of all mankind. And that's been our mission statement since 20 years ago for MUFON. The scientific study of UFOs for the benefit of humanity. And that's exactly what they're trying to do right now. So I'm 100% behind him. I salute the work that Lou's done, both when he was in the Pentagon and as a contractor, and also what he's doing now in TTSA. Tom and the entire team over there, Chris Mellon, Hal Pudoff, Stephen Justice, Jim Semivan. I mean, they're all really doing what they believe is the right thing, trying to get this information out from the places where it exists today into the public domain in a logical, thoughtful, non-threatening way so that the general public can come to realize it's real. And really, when you think about it, it engages our scientists and our engineers, because now, all of a sudden, it's safe to study a phenomenon that just a few years ago, none of them could study without being ostracized in their companies or in their field of study. Because you say the word UFO and the tinfoil hats and the little crazy green monsters come out and people think you're a bit loony. And we've all put up with that for a number of years who've been in this field, because we know our neighbors kind of look at us a little askant at times. But that's what we've had to put up with. I don't think that's true any longer. I think now people can look and see the facts. They can see a show like the Unidentified. They can see government officials and others standing up and telling the American people the facts behind UFOs to the extent that we know them. And I think it's going to open up a whole new discussion for us as a civilization. I just hope they don't go back to their favorite soap opera and forget all about it.
That's the thing. The groundwork has been laid and enough evidence has been put out, rather officially, unofficially, or a combination of all of these, to awaken the public. And now it is up to John Q. Public, the American citizens, and the worldwide community to demand answers. And we can demand answers from a lot of different sources. And the fact of the matter is that for people to want to say that Unidentified falls short of disclosure, just like every time something comes out, like the Project Blue Book show, oh, well, it's all fictionalized, like Unidentified. Everything that history's done, even Ancient Aliens, gets a certain amount of criticism. At the same time, it's doing more to forward the agenda of public knowledge than any other outlet, any other venue, and any other network. These guys are really committed, and we've met the executives. We know the people that are making these shows. These guys are really committed to getting this information out in a way that works for the broader public. And people need to be aware of that, and people need to find their own way to dig deeper, find more answers. All of the information about the ET phenomenon is out there. You can dig, you can research, you can find out. I honestly believe that they have done a bit of secrecy and a bit of disclosure at the same time all along. So in other words, the people that have been managing this information going all the way back to pre-Roswell and when stuff first started appearing in the modern world, at the same time they've kept it from the general public. They've leaked enough information that the people that really want to know can actually have a pretty good handle on what's going on. Unidentified is the next step in generating public awareness, but it's going to be up to the public to demand more.
You've got to think about it this way. I mean, this is a very, very well thought out approach to making this stuff public. Now, no matter how you do it, there's always going to be some who are staying in denial. If you look at the Kubler-Ross grieving process, the front end, first of the 5 stages is denial. And there will still be people out there after watching this show who will say, oh, I still don't believe it. I want to see the ship, I want to see the alien body before I'll even believe it. But eventually you're going to get over that hump and you're going to go down the other side, which is through perhaps a little bit of anger because you're upset that you've been lied to for 50 years or however long you've been alive by your government, by the people who you thought you could trust who would tell you the truth. But we know the truth, and we've known the truth for many years, and the truth is that these things are real. And eventually, as you work the Kubler-Ross process, you get down to acceptance. And most of us inside the UFO community, well, all of us in the UFO community are at the acceptance stage. In other words, we've had our own close encounters. We've had our own experiences that tell us this is real. But the vast majority of the public hasn't. They're just hearing the stories. They're reading the things. They've been pumped so much disinformation through the years that for them it's going to be a little bit hard to swallow. For many others, it'll be very simple, because I think most people today understand that we're not alone in the universe, that there's other people out there, there's other intelligences out there. The big debate right now is whether it's ever been here. And the answer quite simply is yes, it's been here. It's here now, it's present on this planet. And that's gonna be a hard thing for some people to accept, honestly.
You know, on the heels of the History Channel show and Lou Elizondo being in the spotlight, MUFON Productions and MUFON Television is also working on a film where we take this a little bit further. We've got some very exclusive interviews with Louis Elizondo. We've got some fresh material from Nick Pope. And the question that we're really asking in the upcoming film, Nothing to Hide, is once this has been accepted as a proven fact, where do we go from there? What does it mean to the evolution of humanity? So it's no more rehashing Roswell. It's all about, okay, let's just move on past the questioning period into the period of integration of the phenomenon and its reality.
Yeah, there's two different paths there. There's the technology path and putting this technology to peaceful use on this planet for the benefit of everybody. And there's a sociological path, which was basically integrating this new life and its whole sense of being into our life. And so that might be a little tougher, because if you're dealing with beings that are 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years more advanced than us, we might look like a cow or an anthill to them, much as we look at a cow or an anthill as being beneath us. It's going to be an integration process, but this is not going to happen overnight. This is not going to be an immediate thing. This is going to be over the next 20, 30, 50, 100 years that it all plays out in totality. But I think there's going to be some immediate benefits. First off, the way we think as human beings about our place in the universe and our place on this planet, you know, and thinking of ourselves as a human race as opposed to, I'm an American, I'm a German, I'm a Swede, I'm a whatever. I think that's going to have a huge impact for most people. And then also, I think from a technological standpoint, because I do believe within the next 10 to 20 years, we're going to see a breakthrough that allows us, in the white world, that allows us to go interstellar. And that's going to be a real game changer. Because we must realize that our sun is a star in someone else's galaxy. So we're looking out at all these stars that are out there, and there's planets spinning around every one of those billions and billions of stars, as Carl Sagan used to like to say. And every one of those planets could harbor life on it. Now, not everyone does, but everyone could. And so when we get out interstellar and we're in a galaxy far, far away and we're orbiting above a planet and we look down there and see sentient life on that planet that's walking around or doing whatever it's doing, and we go down and we interact with that life, however we do that, we now become the aliens. And that's what we need to start thinking about.
It's definitely the future of humanity if we don't self-destruct first.
Well, that's the other side of it, right? But I really believe in a bright future for mankind, and I think that's why I do what I do. And I think that getting this technology out and putting it to peaceful use on this planet, my sense is that's one of the things that the guys at TTSA would like to do as well. They've got the science group, they've got the technology group, they're trying to figure out how to get these new science things, and we're going to be talking about some of this stuff at our symposium coming up in July. I think they would like to see that technology put to use for the betterment of mankind. That's my real sense of these guys. So I'm 100% behind them. I hope they're successful, because if they are, we all will be too.
So MUFON Television is going to be doing some follow-up shows to Project Blue Book and to Unidentified. We're going to be doing some summaries of the episodes, some reviews, some interviews with cast, and some interviews with other people in the field that want to drop in comments. Sure. Not quite official, but at least people that subscribe to MUFON Television be able to come in and see a recap of these shows as they unfold. Sure. And Unidentified premieres May 31st on History Channel. It's going to be truly the place where anybody who's interested in this topic needs to be sitting that night in your living room watching Unidentified with Lou Elizondo from History.
Yeah, I would say anybody who's listening to this right now will want to grab all of their friends, all of their family, particularly all the naysayers that they've had in their lives about the subject, and put them in their living room together and have a little Unidentified party. Because I can tell you, from what I've seen, this show is going to knock your socks off, and there will be very little debate about whether it's real or not after you watch this show.
So just a spoiler, we've seen the first episode of Unidentified. History Channel clued us in, and it is groundbreaking. Lou Elizondo does an amazing job, and anybody who still thinks that there's nothing to this phenomenon after that is just not paying attention. I think the whole ET presence, or at least the presence of unidentified aerial phenomenon and extra-human entities that may be controlling them, is no longer a subject of debate. It's been proven.
I would agree 100% with you. I think that I'm so excited after watching that show that I would say that ufology is on a whole new level after this airs on May 31st. And so we all better get ready for it, because we're going to have a lot of people asking us questions who've been avoiding us all these years, because they're going to want to know what the real story is.
So thank you to History Channel. Thank you to Lou Elizondo. Thank you to Tom DeLong and to the Stars Academy. And of course, thank you to MUFON for being the organization that's persevered for 50 years to be a community for people who care about this. Check out MUFON. Check out Unidentified.